Live. Welcome to a special edition of Hit or Miss with the Rogue Banshee, my friend Jason.
What is going on, man? It's funny because this is the first time I've been on with you.
Well,
We've been talking. How many years have we been talking about this?
this is probably 5 or 6 years in the making, honestly. And at least in the last year, it's like at least we've been trying to schedule this for at least the better part of this year.
Right?
You
It's
know,
funny.
so it is funny, but you've got your show to do. I've got my shows to do. This I'm starting to do this again, but we're doing. I'm moving Hit or Miss into a new direction, guys. So if I do start doing Hit or Miss repeatedly now, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to do special editions like this where I interview someone. We might talk about some current events, and then talk about that person. And that's probably the direction we're going to be going. So just be aware, it's not going to be like every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It's going to be whenever Night Strike can get them to come on.
Yeah, like me.
I was going to have him on, and then I got hit by a hurricane and lost power and internet for like better part of the weekend. And then the next week, it's like it went down on like a Thursday or a Friday, and it wasn't backing up until like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, and that's kind of funny because
I texted you what those polls looked like. They literally snapped. So
sorry, I'm like, you see, you're prepared and I'm not. I'm still trying to get into like all the chats and stuff for the live stream.
I know. It's weird. I'm prepared tonight. What the hell happened?
I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented.
This is history in the making. This is strike history.
Speaking of unprecedented history in making.
Yeah, why don't we talk about that?
Okay. Sorry, not to hijack your show there, but
no, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna go into that, and then we'll go into the stuff with you and us, you and whatnot. But let's talk about that for a little bit. For those that haven't heard, if you've been hiding under a rock, you know how Biden. I hate to call him president or our president or even President Biden, but Biden went on a tirade on TV and on media, every interview you can imagine, saying he wouldn't pardon Hunter for any of his crimes. And then guess what? After the Democrats lose the election, after the candidate he picks loses, after the whole party loses the election, the whole damn party lost.
Yeah.
He decides to go and say, well, I'm done politically anyway, so let's just pardon Hunter. And he went and pardoned Hunter Biden.
Well, it's not even that he pardoned him; it's how he pardoned him. He didn't pardon him for a crime; he pardoned him for any crime that he has committed or may have committed over a 10-year period.
Between those periods, it's like, well, I bet he can only do it between those times because he couldn't figure out how to pardon him from future crimes. Otherwise, he would have done those too.
Well, he had
to instead of Minority Reports, pardons.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, he had to pardon him because he doesn't want anybody digging any deeper into Hunter.
Right.
Because if they dig any deeper, they might find even more stuff that Joe was
a party
of, but they could never truly link him to.
Right.
So he basically headed that one off.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but hey,
I watched him go on and on and on. And you know what my thoughts were? You are lying through your freaking teeth, man. I know you're lying. Everybody knows you're lying, but you're going ahead with the lie.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the Democrats or maybe politicians' MO. Lie and lie and lie, and if you get caught in it, lie some more.
Yeah, just deny.
Double down.
Yeah. He did 4 hours into the future too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, even the Democrats are going. This is a dangerous precedent that was just set.
Right, because but and here's the thing, I wouldn't be so pissed off about this if he had done something else, and you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, yeah.
If he had pardoned the January 6th people right after he pardoned Hunter, then this would be a non-issue.
Well, so this is the problem I have. So one of the crimes that Hunter was convicted of was a federal firearms charge,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he was convicted of this. But didn't Joe Biden come out with the whole Office of Firearms Safety? So now he's saying that everybody else has got to have these rules. But hey, my crackhead son broke these rules,
And
and
he
we're
didn't
going to
get part.
pardon him for it.
Yeah, he doesn't get persecuted or held accountable for any of these crimes. Well, this is pretty much the Democrat MO. Let's not hold anybody accountable or responsible for anything. That way, if something goes to shit, we can just blame the guy before us.
Well, here's the thing that I like. I like about the pardon. This could be now. Joe's not that smart to do this, so his handlers would have come up with this. It it would it's really good because anything that Joe actually did that would be illegal, he can now blame it on Hunter, and you can't go after Hunter, and it just kills any investigation.
Yeah, well, as I said, people wouldn't be nearly as pissed off at Joe for this if he had pardoned also the January 6th people. And
Yeah.
but obviously he's not going to do that because Trump said he would do that.
Yeah.
So,
It's
honestly, this is his peace out yo moment, and I'm no longer president.
yeah. No,
Trump can deal with it in January because Christmas is
I'm
coming.
out.
I'm done. Peace. I'm out.
Yeah. It's his mic drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really it's just funny. When I read that, I started laughing, and my wife's like, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, Biden just pardoned Hunter," and she goes, "That's not a surprise." I'm like, "No, it's not a surprise, but but it's funny, right?"
It's funny. It's funny because he how long did he go on and on and on about how he wouldn't pardon him whatsoever, and then just like at the end of his term, he's like, "Yeah, I'm pardoning him."
Well, what's funny
Anybody that didn't
is
see this coming was is an idiot. I'll be honest.
Well, what's funny is Karine. She is having a hell of a time.
Because she said he didn't.
Press.
She even said he wasn't going to pardon him.
Yeah,
and he said
five times he said it.
And he did so many interviews with
Yep.
all the major news companies saying, "Oh, yeah, he's not going to pardon him," and he goes and does it anyways. I mean, if you guys didn't see the writing on that wall, I mean, good Lord, put some blinders on because there's no helping you.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Mean, so let's be honest. I will be completely transparent. If it was my son, I'd probably pardon him too, even if he was a screw up.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is they
but at least
so
I would be honest.
Crime.
I would be honest about
gun crime,
right?
And they let it go.
Well, you know how Democrats are. You know how Harris went and touted. Oh, I have a Glock 19.
Yeah, yeah,
but she has a Glock 19, which I don't even think is on the California roster.
No, I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
Is it? Well, if it's on the roster, well, hallelujah. But it's just the factor that oh, she has a Glock, huh? And she tried to say, oh yeah, no, I'm for the Second Amendment. I was like, say what the hell? Say what? Since when? I saw your tenure in California. That ain't no picnic, I can tell you that. And no, absolutely not. I saw your 2020 run for president. Don't tell me you're for guns. You said, because when you started your election run this year in 2024, you said your stance on firearms hasn't changed.
Yeah, but she'll say but that's the thing with her though. She will say anything regardless. Whoever's right in front of her at that time, that's what she will talk about.
Well, yeah, she'll say anything to play into whoever she's talking to, so she can
Yeah,
convince them to be on her side. But it's also the Democrat thing where it's legislation for thee, but not for me.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Well, I like the whole thing. Is yeah, if somebody breaks into my house, they're getting shot. Yeah, not by her, by the Secret Service.
Yeah, yeah.
She's not shooting
Totally.
anybody. Even if she does have a gun, she's not shooting anybody.
Oh no, she's not. No, she's not. Not unless you can
So,
hide the body.
well, she's got the Secret Service for that. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. The Secret
I
Service
mean,
covered up
they'll break into
cocaine in the White House.
they'll break into hair salons of closed
Yeah,
businesses
use the
just to
bathroom.
let people use the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
I'm
I mean,
surprised. I'm surprised her campaign didn't get sued for that.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, you think about it, though. The Secret Service is good covering things up. They let cocaine into the White House. Oh, we don't know where that came from. The most secure building in the world.
Apparently, it was one of Harris's staffers that brought it in for her.
Hmm.
At least
Yeah,
that's what the latest said.
I didn't know that Hunter was on her staff.
Neither did I, but I'm not going to question it. If they, however they want to, they've done a hell of a job with the fuzzy numbers, saying, "Oh, the economy is doing so great." That we've never had a job problem in this country ever. How we are producing so much oil. Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. We are compared to I don't know, like
Cuba.
To like Cuba,
It's like
Yeah, oil production's up when you compared to what country that doesn't produce oil are you comparing this to?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You asked the Biden administration. I can't tell you.
Yeah, no, it's
But
uh,
we saw this one coming. So
yeah.
it's just it is what it is. Though I did hear something funny.
What's that?
Well, guess which nation is getting back its submarines?
China?
Nope.
Russia?
Our good friends in NATO, the Germans, are getting their U-boats back.
Really?
Yeah, they're beefing up their navy.
Is
They're
that
beefing.
is that allowed after the Second World War?
Well, now that they had the
but then again,
is the whole
look at what they did
reunification
after World War One.
Right. But I just find it funny that Germany announced that they're building more U-boats now, and well, their reasoning is they need to monitor the Russians in the Baltic.
Yeah, well,
I can't argue with that because that is a legitimate excuse. But again, I know they're part of NATO now and they're our allies now. It's just it kind of feels wrong to have U-boats on our side. Still a little it stings still a little.
Oh, are they going to use the Enigma on them?
They might.
You're allowed to have U-boats, but you got to use the Enigma, because we cracked that.
Yeah, right.
Did you ever see that? What was the movie? What was that movie about World War II where they were trying to crack the code? Where they were trying to. God, what?
Well, the thing is, if it wasn't for that captain of that ship that captured that U-boat, which is, by the way, is like in Chicago I think it's Illinois. It's in Illinois somewhere on display, that entire U-boat, because he sent men over there to disable the booby traps that the Germans had put in that submarine as it was sinking, to disable the booby traps and prevent the submarine from sinking so they could capture the Enigma device and be able to, decode all the German stuff. It was amazing. If you saw that story.
It's it's so funny thinking about that stuff going back.
Mm.
It's yeah. I mean, to think about him to disable to disable the booby traps to scuttle the ship
Mm.
is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
A
So
little bit of forethought there, maybe.
maybe. So
Collusion.
that's kind of what I've got as far as what I wanted to talk about in current events. And Jason totally preempted me on that. Thank you, Jason. But you know,
Oh
we're
wait,
doing
this
this.
oh, that's right. This is your show. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
know, right? Yeah, but we're doing a special edition tonight of Hit or Miss, and I've got the Rogue Banshee on here, Jason, and I'm gonna be going through some questions, asking him some questions, seeing picking his brain a little bit about you
I
know
don't know if there. I don't know if there's much left, man. I mean,
about I know, but we'll try. We'll try and suffer through this together. Just like I try every time I jump on your show. But I won't ask you if a hot dog is a sandwich, okay?
hot dog's a hot dog. Damn it,
It is on a bun.
it's a hot dog.
We put hamburgers on buns. I'm just saying. Anyways,
Yeah,
so
but a hamburger isn't made off the stuff that hit the cutting room floor.
yeah. All right. All right. So, okay. For those of you that don't know Jason Schaller, or is that, did I pronounce that right?
Shaller. Yep,
Schaller?
pretty close enough. Hey, when I was a kid, somehow they put it, this would crack me up as in elementary school where they're trying to teach you how to phonetically sound things out and all that. Somehow all the teachers put U's in my name. I was Schuler. I'm like, where the hell did you get a U?
Hey, people have a hard time pronouncing my last name.
I have an easy time. Say hole.
No, my other last name.
Oh, your other last name. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Savino.
Yeah, I
People
still
can't.
screwed that one.
Yeah. Anyways, so Jason Schaller is the Rogue Banshee. He does a YouTube podcast. Which one is that?
Well, I have two of them now.
You got two of them. Oh, I didn't
I
know
have
you
two of
started
them.
the
I have
second one.
the gun one is for the love of guns,
Right.
and then I would have pronounced it Shaler. Yeah, that would have worked too, Gary. That would have been a lot closer. I have the love of guns, and then I have the Undependent podcast,
Ooh.
which is kind of a little bit of a change. It's not we don't talk about firearms on that one.
Ooh.
Well, we talk a little bit about firearms, but that's
What do you
that's
talk
a
about?
side discussion.
Maybe you and I should start doing every once in a while a tech podcast. Bring Gary in on it.
Oh man, yeah, I get Gary. Oh, Gary's retired though. I don't know if he wants to talk about it.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
He ran away from the industry.
He could be a guest.
He could be.
He's got years of experience.
I know. Yeah, it's funny thinking about it. I've been in IT almost 29 years now.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
It's been a while for me too. I'm trying to get out of it.
You and me both.
Right. All right. So again, we just went into it just a little bit, but tell us about yourself and your podcasts.
So me, I've been shooting since I was 7. I had my first gun when I was 10. I grew up just outside of Philly, and it's back when it wasn't so bad to live in that area. And then we moved to Maryland.
Not a great choice. Well,
not a great choice.
Not nowadays.
We had to. What's funny is that when we lived in Maryland, we were jealous of the people in Delaware with the gun laws. Now you look at the hellhole Delaware has become with gun laws.
Maryland is the better choice, but Maryland's still. I'm going to be honest. Anywhere north of Virginia is just like host in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But yeah, it's so I grew up mostly on the East Coast, and then after Y2K, being in the tech industry and watching everything just completely go to hell. The company I was working for was going out of business, and I was only married for like a year at the time, and
Mhm.
that's when we came out here to Montana.
Mm.
And yeah, it's it's been great living out here, especially being in the firearms stuff. I was in FFL for 10 years, and towards the end of that, I started up the Rogue Banshee, and
I am gonna ask you some gunsmithing questions, relating to being a gunsmiths later on, so just
okay,
be prepared. But it's
I will try not to screw them up.
basic
Uh,
stuff, you'll be fine.
um,
I'm just
so
giving you warning.
it was the Rogue Banshee just was the thing. I had a question. I did a test live stream last night. Gary was actually on
Mm,
the in the chat there, where I was testing the new software because I got rid of StreamYard.
right.
And one of the guys asked me in the after, in the comments afterwards, it was, why do you call it the Rogue Banshee? And when we were coming up with the channel name 7 years ago, we were trying to come up with something, and then we had this dog. Her name is Rogue. Still have her today. She's 10. She's 10 now. We had a dog named Banshee that passed away 11 years ago. So the two dogs never met each other, and we swear that Rogue is Banshee reincarnated, like
Mm,
mannerisms and everything. And so that's how we came up with the name, the Rogue Banshee. It's named after two of our dogs.
alright. Hey, whatever works, I'm not gonna argue. I mean
It turned out to be a pretty cool ass name.
I mean, Night Strike was just an old name I used when I was playing video games back in the late '90s when, online gaming started taking off.
God, yeah.
You know, back in the day,
Back
back
in the
those
day,
were the days.
I think the first game that I played that was networked was Mech Warrior, and it
Mm.
wasn't even networked. It was a null modem cable between two PCs.
Ooh, 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 I remember those days too.
And I was playing it against
Yeah,
my brother-in-law.
yeah, so but yeah.
But yeah, so we didn't have Ethernet back then. We were doing this through null modem cables.
But you did have BNC though.
Well, I didn't.
You didn't, but they did have it.
They did have it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
But yes,
yeah.
yeah, you could have run coax.
Yeah, you could've, yeah. But, alright, so you mentioned that you were an FFL and you're a gunsmith. What made you wanna become a gunsmith?
To become a what?
What made you wanna be a gunsmith?
So I never wanted to become a gunsmith,
You never did.
but I always wanted to be a gun dealer. So this goes back years, back when this is when my father was still alive. He and I we always wanted to do a gun range together,
Mm,
and so it was just became something that I wanted to do, and then the gunsmithing kind of came later. But what's funny was is that I actually took gunsmithing courses. Gosh, when was that? It was probably 2002 is when I started taking gunsmithing courses. So, and I didn't
wow,
have,
back in the day.
yeah, so I didn't have,
Did
um, I, I didn't have my license until what, 2010,
who did you go through?
2010, I think is when I got my license.
Who
20,
did
2009 or 2010, somewhere around there is when I got my FFL.
okay. Uh, what did you go through a university for gunsmithing, or did you go
So it
through,
was a
one of the companies?
correspondence school. It was a modern gunsmithing, a modern gun school.
Mm,
And yeah, it was. Funny. I never finished the program because I thought it was kind of a joke.
well,
Uh, I mean, this is how bad it was. They're like, here's your assignment. Read this. This is about this gun. And I was like, okay, great. So you
mhm.
read about it, and then you get to the back of the lesson, and there's the test. Take the test and mail it in.
Yeah, I did
I'm
I
like,
did Pe I did Penn Foster, and I
okay,
finished it,
so
and I completed it though. but they
There
actually
you
did
go.
have some information, like, they had, you here are some of the most common firearms you
Yeah.
might come across, here's how to work on them and whatnot, and, also, here's how you start a business and whatnot. I already knew the business part, it's just that some of the stuff in between, like repairing barrels and silver soldering and whatnot, I didn't
Yeah.
do I knew how to solder, I just didn't know how to solder guns.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I have a hard time silver soldering too.
Huh.
Um, I actually I tried it on a frame over here that I scratched up, and it didn't turn out very well.
Right?
Because all I was trying to do, I went to a neighbor of mine who welds. I was like, "Can you weld this?" He goes, "Just silver solder it and fill it in." I'm like, "Huh, I could do that." Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but, it
Uh,
can be done. It can be
it can
done.
be. Yeah, it can be. It's a skill that I never mastered.
I mean, my friend out there, Ross, Black Bear Forge, he went to SDI. I
Yeah, SDI wasn't even a thing.
yeah,
I mean, they kind of were around, but they really weren't like around. I thought about going back and finishing, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of know everything I need to know.
right,
But I
right.
thought about doing SDI.
I mean, I went through Penn Foster and I completed it and I got my certification from them. I mean, I thought about going to SDI, but at the same time, why do I need to sink money into it when I already got one institution's piece of paper?
Yeah, true. I mean,
I mean,
the problem I have
all
is
I
like,
want to do is I want to get in. I don't want to fix people's guns. I went and took that course so I could try and get in the manufacturing side.
yeah. See, for me, I have a bachelor's in cybersecurity, and I just like to really want to go back after an associate's in
I
firearm
I never
technology.
I never finished my associates for that. I went and got certifications instead.
Yeah. See,
Be bec
I
be
was in the
because, it was like I would spend it was the point where I would spend $15,000 for an associate's degree or just pay the couple $100 for all the certifications to go to work,
yeah, right.
So,
So
so I just elected to go to the library, read up all the read the books that they're gonna, test you on, and then just go and take the damn tests. That's what I did.
yeah,
So,
I like what C&T was talking about. Wife did SDI, and then I did SDI. It's okay. It could be better. One of my customers when I was in FFL,
yeah,
he he it was funny. He was going through SDI trying to use up his GI Bill before it ran out.
right.
And I remember talking to him about it. I'm like, what do you think of it? He's like, I think you know more than these guys do. Um, and the funny thing was, is that one of his projects was an 80% AR. It was the
Mm,
it wasn't 5D tact. It wasn't the 5D tactical. It was the other one. It looked just like it. Um, got it. And actually, I borrowed that jig to do the video on that jig. That was
yeah,
the first 80% AR I did. Um, so
yeah.
yeah, it was yeah, he didn't even use a jig. He's like, screw it, I have a mill. Why would I use this jig? I have a mill. But yeah, it was uh there was a lot there were some projects like for me at Modern Gun School was like refinishing a stock. Um those were like, the labs, and I was just like, this is kind of a joke.
Yeah, I had more mine was more of the in-depth reading, and this is how you do it, and this is
Yeah.
how you would make these repairs and whatnot, and then, do quizzes and then tests.
The one thing I liked about this stuff is, for me, was the troubleshooting stuff.
Right.
Like, they're talking about like the Smith and Wesson revolvers and like what's happening here. It's, if someone's spinning this problem is because of people spinning and slamming it shut, and or holding the doing the like the Russian roulette with it, and
Yeah.
that's the stuff I thought was the most interesting.
Alright, I got another question for you.
Uh-huh.
Now, at your time as an FFL and a gunsmith, what was the
Mhm.
hardest project you found yourself doing as a gunsmith?
Um,
Like whether it's a
so
repair or whether it was a new build or something? What was the
for
first one?
me, for me, it was actually Cerakote. So
Really?
I went into Cerakote. Now, the problem I had with doing Cerakote's not hard. I mean, even I'm doing Cerakote. I was just painting this weekend. Um, the problem I had is I loved doing Cerakote. And what I was doing is I was buying surplus guns and Cerakoting them and then turning around and selling them. That wasn't the problem. It's when people brought me things to Cerakote, I'm so anal about it that my wife it drove my wife nuts because I would get pissed off about, like, I remember one AR I redid the lower three times,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife's like, I was getting ready to go do it for the third time. And my wife's like, "What's wrong with it?" She's looking at it. I'm like, "Oh, well, right here on the back where the the plate's going to go, it's just not right here." And she's like, "No one's going to see it." I'm like, "But I've got to do it right. People are paying me for it." And then that's what
Right.
drove me nuts, was just
Mm,
just you're paying me to do it. I'm going to be so anal about the job that I do.
right.
And um, I the problem is I took something I enjoyed doing and turning it into a job,
Right.
and that was the toughest part for me.
Mm,
Because if I'm doing surplus guns, they're kind of beat up anyway. Anything I do to them was a hell of a lot better than they were. Um, I
well,
mean, trust me, it
I give
wasn't
you
like I
that.
was filling in, like, I mean, these things had like dents and scratches and stuff that you'd still see under the Cerakote. So I wasn't as worried. Um,
Well, you mean you wouldn't put any Bondo on it to try and smooth those dents out?
no, no, I would not do that. Um,
I've heard of some people doing that. That's why I
I've heard
mentioned
of people doing that too, but mine,
it.
when I sold them on Gunbroker, I just took really good pictures so that way you could see that, hey, I like, this was a surplus gun, so there's only so much I can fix before the refinishing process.
Mm, all right. Uh, what's the best advice you'd give to someone who wants to become a gunsmith?
Don't
Don't.
You're not going to make any money.
Uh,
Gunsmiths are paid really, really bad. Um, they don't make a lot of money. Um, don't get me wrong. I was getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. That was my side job. I had my regular day job, so I really enjoyed it. But if you're going to be serious about it, man, go to one of the trade schools, not the correspondence schools,
yeah.
like SDI as well. Go to one of the big three or four trade schools
Right.
and actually do the stuff where you're working with the mills and stuff like that.
I mean, if I was gonna open a gunsmithing shop out here where I am at, I would actually go and probably probably go and learn a bit under Mark
Yeah,
before I
oh,
went
you
out on
see,
my own.
you have a little bit of a different. You have a mentor that you could go under. I didn't, so I had to learn all this
Well,
shit myself.
I made the connection out. He found out I did YouTube, and it just kind of clicked together. But again, if I was going to go to anybody to learn how to run my own gunsmithing business per se and do the right proper repairs, I would go to him first.
Yeah, I would too.
Whether I would have to pay him for mentorship or not or whatnot, that's not even the point. The fact is, I would go to him.
I have a lot of respect for that guy. I have a lot of respect for that guy.
He is a great guy. Let me tell you, I have
I
nothing
want
but
to re-
respect and love for him.
it's funny. I want to reach out to him, get him on the podcast sometime because I've learned so many things. Well, it's funny because I have a project. I have a project gun that I haven't started yet. That when I bought this thing, I was like, okay, I got to reblue this, and
Mhm.
I don't have the bluing tanks and stuff like that. And he did a video on rust bluing where he built his rust bluer out of PVC pipe,
Yeah. No.
and I'm sitting there going, shit, that's genius.
Yeah. He told me. He's even told me. Listen, it doesn't matter what size you make. Just go get some PVC pipe, and you can do rust bluing out of that. You
Yeah,
don't need it. You
because
don't need an expensive tank.
that thing, when I do that gun, I'm going to rust blue it using his method with PVC pipe.
Yeah.
I learned so much out of that video.
You know that video where he showed himself going and redoing the crosshair stitching on the
On the
on
stock.
on that stock?
Mhm. He had it in
Yeah.
that cradle.
He had it in cradle. He was doing one of those.
Yep.
I was in the shop that day. He was taking that
Were
video.
you?
Yes.
Because I remember that video. The whole shop was dark except for where he was
Yeah.
focusing on it, and I thought that was kind of interesting that he
I,
had the lighting of just him on that,
I was there
and it
before.
was
I was there when he started doing that. Then he started recording it, and then uh, I I was there after he recorded it. So I let him record it, and then I came back. But it's just I was there at that point.
because wasn't he doing that like going into a holiday weekend?
Yeah.
That's
I
what I
mean,
thought because I thought he said that in the video.
and and
He was trying
and
to get it knocked out.
here's the thing. He's on one side of Charleston, and I'm like on the outskirts of Charleston in the rural area where you can own land still, and you're not literally in the swamp. Because
So
for those that don't know, the low country of South Carolina is basically all swamp.
So Big Bear Forge had. I've got a Winchester 94. I want a rust blue. That's actually the gun I'm talking about. I have a
Yeah.
Winchester 94 that I picked up for $100. Needs work. It's a project gun. I bought it off of my FFL for $100. He bought it for $50. And the serial number is 1928.
If you
Uh,
can find another one of those, let me know because I need one. I don't care how bad off it is, but if you find another one of those, let me know.
Yeah, I will. It's one of those things of
It's
I was
it,
talking to him because he's like, wait, you got a YouTube channel and you're redoing guns. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I got this Winchester 94, and he pulled it out, and I was looking at it, and he goes, I was like, how much? He goes, man, I bought it for 50. Can you give me 100 for it? And I'm looking at it going, man, I could strip this gun and get over $100 in parts. I mean, it needs some work. It needs to be there's new springs. It needs to be the
yeah,
lifter's not working right.
but the
Someone
springs.
barreled it. It looks like they put like an M1 carbine barrel on this thing. It's awful.
Well, springs can be replaced easily enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and that's the thing is that my FFL. He's like, I don't know anything about 94s. I'm like, 94s can be kind of finicky.
I
You
just
got
want I
you
want
got to
one
know
because I want to make a rifleman rifle.
yeah. Yeah,
So
I get that.
because I like the old cowboy shows. Okay, just
Yeah, I do. I mean,
I love the whole large loop lever thing.
well, so if you go through my channel, one of my God, I've, for some reason Winchester 94s over the past 2 years, I don't know what it is, but like my disassembly and reassembly of the Winchester 94 has been picking up in views. That rifle in that video, I still have it. That was my first rifle ever. I think I think I was 11 when I got that, and still have it today. I took it apart for everybody to learn how to take those things apart.
I mean,
Um,
the first rifle I had, the first rifle I had was an AR-15 I built, and I sold that to get the money to keep GunTube running.
yeah.
I still have a I
Your
still
thankless
have
job.
I still have like a couple of ARs left, but I went from having like 10 or 15 to like having 3, 4, I think. That's it. Yeah. Anyways, depressing all depressing things aside, let's continue on. Here's an interesting question I thought you might like. What do you wish you had known before becoming a gunsmith?
God, I wish it's not really what I wish I had known, because there are some things that I still don't know that I don't know. Um,
There are plenty of things
so
I don't know, and I'm honest about it.
the more I watch Mark, the more I learn that I don't of what I don't know, and I know I don't know a lot of stuff, but
Right.
when I watch him, I feel stupid. Um,
Well,
but I,
I
I
follow
I
his
don't
lead.
think it's really what I don't know. I think it's I wish I would have had a better education for it.
Mm.
I think that's my biggest thing.
Well, and I hate to say it, but you know, Mark is one of the very few gunsmiths that know a lot. But even he
See,
recognizes that he doesn't know everything either. But he knows a hell of a lot. And I think the problem is that a lot of the gunsmithing courses that a lot of people teach, they don't have the proper useful skills that you probably should
yeah.
have as a gunsmith.
Well, and that's the thing is, so I stopped even calling myself a gunsmith. I started calling myself a DIY gunsmith,
Yeah.
um, just because there are so many people that have so much more knowledge than I have. And again, I'm not an FFL anymore, so I'm not a professional. Um,
Yeah.
but that is,
Uh,
I think that's the biggest thing is there's two things you need to have. You need to have knowledge, right? You need to
right.
understand how the guns work.
Mhm.
Even if you have basic knowledge, there's so many people that don't even know what the hell a sear is, um, right? And it's
Right?
like if you don't know what a sear is, you don't know what literally any gun does, right?
Right.
Um, so it's having the knowledge, but it's also uh, you got to have a lot of critical thinking skills and analytical, critical thinking and analytical thinking. You need to have those because you're trying to figure out what is going on. I mean,
Right.
you are basically a mechanic for a firearm.
Yeah.
So it's just it's having those skills. If you don't have those skills, I mean, see, I mean, I'm in IT, right?
Right.
So
Oh
I'm in
my.
cybersecurity. I'm in cybersecurity. I used to be a hiring manager before I started slowing my career down. And I remember talking to people about, because I'd have open jobs.
Mhm.
And, my team, I hired most of my team and they're used to questions that I ask, right? Because I'll get you into a team interview and the team will beat you up on the technology stuff.
Right.
And then it's like, we're going around the table and you come back or you come to me and I'll be the last one to ask you a question before you go back around the table again.
Right.
And I'll ask you a question of like, why is the stop sign red? Right?
Because I
And
said
then
so.
what's funny is people will stop. They're like, okay, you're the one that's highly credentialed. You're the hiring manager.
Right.
Where is this question coming from? And it's like, for me, I don't care what your answer is. I want to see how you came up with the answer. And somebody asked me one time, they're like, why are you asking that question? I go, look, I can teach you technology. I can't teach you a thought process. If you don't
Right.
have this thought process, you're never going to have it. And they're going to beat you up on the technology. I'm going to sit there and see how you think because I'm trying to figure out whether or not I can use you. So,
Mhm.
I think the same thing goes into gunsmithing. You need to have that critical thinking and that analytical mind to
Right.
do to do this stuff. Um, I mean, honestly, one of the biggest problems people have, especially when they're working on their own guns, is knowing when the hell to stop.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why we have the phrase "Bubba no."
Yeah, right. Just knowing when to stop because
Yeah.
anymore you're just going to screw it up beyond fixing.
Yeah,
That's
and
huge.
I've done that. It's like I stopped, and there have been times where I brought something to Mark, and Mark's like, "It's a good thing you stopped when you did." I go,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I remember what you said. If I'm willing to fuck it up, good. But if I'm not,
Yeah, it's just having
don't go
that
any
thing of
further."
when to stop.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I just hit that this weekend in the Cerakote booth. I was having I was having problems. Actually, I had to order Cerakote today because of this. I was having problems with Cerakote, with one color. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like going back and forth. I'm looking at this bottle going, I bet this bottle is like, I bet it turned. All right. I bet it's bad. I mean, I knew it was an old bottle, but again, I'm not selling the stuff. It was for me. It's just to get through a video. And
Right.
I'm like, this bottle turned. So I stopped. I knew to stop, right? And I was talking to my wife, and she's like, "Well, I did the other colors." And she goes, "Well, I know you can work with the Cerakote." I go, honestly, um, no, I'm just gonna go buy another bottle. It's $35 for another bottle. I go, if I try to mess around with this bottle, which I know is old already, I could screw this up again, and then I have to refinish it, reblast it. I go, it's just worth $35. Knowing that whole thing, just stop, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's going to put the video behind. All right, it's going to suck, but oh well, the video is going to launch later. Then it's better than spending the next 2 days messing around with this thing and screwing it up over and over and over again.
Right. Right. So going into that, you have any favorite gun books you'd recommend?
Oh God,
Whether they're gunsmithing or just gun books.
one of my favorite. It's a volume. Is the God, who wrote it? It's the 1911 um,
Mm,
gunsmithing books. It's a series of 3 books. What the hell is it called? Um, it's an older book, but it's so great going through that when you're working on a 1911.
right.
If you just can't remember something, this guy's like the master of it. It's going to
I
drive me nuts until I figure out what that
I mean,
book is now.
what my the course I took for gunsmithing gave me two wonderful guides of just disassembly and reassembly for a ton of different rifles and pistols.
You know what's funny? I just ran into mine
And
from Modern Gun School. The only problem I have with those is
some of them go into too much depth or not enough depth.
or they've used a diagram that has been photocopied and photocopied. It's so old
Uh,
that you can barely read the damn
Well,
thing.
mine are different because they're NRA versions,
Mm.
so they got color images.
Yeah, these are mine. Mine are black and white.
Yeah.
Um, hold on a second. I think I found the Amazon link for it.
Uh oh. Uh oh. We're not
Um,
monetized here anyways, so
Jerry Kunzhausen, his books.
okay. Yeah, I've heard of
The
him.
Colt 45 Automatic.
Yeah, that one.
I love that book. I have it in PDF.
I might talk to you about that later.
Yeah, I have it in I have it in somewhere. I have it in PDF.
Yeah.
Um, I'm pretty sure that book was never released in PDF.
Mm. We're glossing that over. We know nobody heard that. Anyways, moving on. Okay, I'm gonna throw a different question at you. What's your favorite firearm platform?
Man, that's a tough one. So it it depends on what mood I'm in, honestly.
Mm,
Right now, Remington 700 action has become my passion because that's
yeah,
the problem I have is that I like to say that I'm a pistol guy that wants to be a rifle guy. So I'm starting to learn long range shooting,
hmm
and the Remington 700 action right now has got to be one of my favorites. Um, my second favorite right now is the I'm looking around. I'm looking around at all the parts I got laying around here
yeah.
on the bench for things. Um,
I know how that works.
Lately, it's been the Mossberg 500 because I've been doing a bunch of work on 500s lately,
Huh?
and I never really dove into 500s before. I mean, that 500 is
Right?
not a hard shotgun to work on.
No, no.
I mean, really, you get to the point where, like, if there's something wrong with the trigger, you just throw the trigger housing out, buy another one, pop it in.
Right, right. So, I mean, the one, the platform I'm into right now is the one I've been taking pictures of because I've been printing receivers for them. And you know, you see two of them. You've seen two black ones and then a black one and a green one. Well, I've also got a white one and an FDE one. Also
Mm,
I'm working on. So I'm going for the whole, the all the favorite gun colors.
yeah, there you go.
But the VC61 is the platform I'm into right now. So it's that's just it. All right. So I'm going through my list. We've almost gotten through some of them. I haven't gotten all through all the
We
questions.
almost got through some of them. That's a hell of a statement there.
Yeah, I know. I was prepared. Who knew?
That is a help desk type of thing.
Yeah. I'm, I'm
We
going.
almost got
I'm
through
going through
some
the
of
list.
them.
Well, because what I did was I went and looked up questions of best questions for interviewing and podcasting to ask, and then I just tailored them to fit the gunsmithing and podcasting and live streaming.
You didn't chat GPT that?
I didn't. No, I just went and looked it up and did Google.
Wow.
I did it
You're
the
you're
manual
doing
way.
the old fashioned way.
I know, right? So, all right.
What's
All right.
scary is ChatGPT knows who I am.
Yeah, apparently.
No, it does because I've done it. I've gone into an incognito window and not through a signed in account, and it actually knows who I am.
All right.
I was like, interesting.
So you do live streaming and podcasting, and you do your own produced videos. Uh,
Yep.
what's some of your favorite software that you use to do those?
You really want to go down this route?
Just do
Because you're going to cringe the entire time. I know you're going to cringe the entire time.
well, I'm gonna cringe anyways because I know you use Mac.
so, so what's funny is I've been well, I wouldn't say I've always been a Windows guy, but I was an OS2 guy before Windows.
Ah,
Before I even went into Windows, I
well,
went from DOS to OS2 to
I mean,
Windows.
I mean, I'll give you props for OS2, but only because it's slightly better than OS X.
I don't know, man. Um, considering OS2 for me to get to the internet, I had to go out to a Windows shell and use Trumpet Windsock in order to dial the modem. I don't. I mean, well, and I never made it to OS2 Warp. Um, yeah, I mean, to me, NT was nice try, but for me, I got into Macs later.
Better than
I used
Windows
to
CE.
I used to trash on Macs until uh, one time we needed one of my end users got a Mac, and none of us knew anything about Macs. I'm like, all right, I'll bite the bullet and I'll get one.
Yeah.
So I got a MacBook Air, and I learned Mac, and then I started liking it actually. And so yeah, I am a Mac. I am a Mac user. I use for video. I use Final Cut Pro for
Okay.
all my video editing.
I've used Final Cut.
Um, I really like it. I when I started the channel, I started it on iMovie, the free iMovie version, and then I outgrew it.
Hmm.
I started getting so many different layers and things on my timeline that I had to go up to something big, and there was a trial for Final Cut Pro, so I did. So I just it worked just like iMovie. So I'm like, cool, I already learned this stuff. There's just some new bells and whistles, and I just kept with it. So editing, I like doing out of iMovie, or not out of Final Cut Pro. It
Yeah.
was funny is I just edited, I was just editing audio in Final Cut Pro.
Are you a
Uh,
Photoshop guy or are you a GIMP guy?
GIMP, GIMP,
Okay, because
yeah,
that's the one I use. That's literally what I use for the image for this video.
yeah. It was funny. I didn't even look to see what the image was. We just climbed on.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, no, it was. I use GIMP for my video for my picture editing. Um, Trying to think really anything else I use. Oh, so here's one that you would never think of
Okay, hit me.
for my thumbnails
Right.
for my channel. I actually use PowerPoint. I actually use PowerPoint to do my
PowerPoint.
thumbnails.
That's great. That's great.
Um, it's funny because it works really well. I used to do my thumbnails out of GIMP,
Oh,
but
that's great. That's
The
great.
way GIMP does layers, I mean, I just need this thing to be basic. And yeah, I
Right?
use PowerPoint. So like on Wednesday, you'll see I have the gunsmith memes, the DIY gunsmith memes on the social media. That's also done out of PowerPoint.
Right.
I do those. I set up the slide to be vertical instead of horizontal, and
Right.
then that's actually how I do the memes.
That reminds me
I,
of an old Windows meme. Because you mentioned NT earlier. It's like,
yep.
you saw that old meme where it's like Windows has combined all its most powerful operating systems, CE, ME, and NT,
Yeah.
as hard as a rock and as dumb as a brick.
Yeah.
Windows
Well,
cement.
what's funny is, so when I was in high school, um,
That's been around on the internet forever, by the way. So
when I was in high
let them
school, I had a friend of mine when she went away to college. She was a year ahead of me. She went to go work for IBM in Windows NT support, and she came back. She did an internship,
Mhm.
and it was so funny. Is I remember hanging out when she came back. A bunch of us went over to her place because it was Maryland. She we're all just over there just chilling out, and she said that she was in printer support for OS2. I'm like, oh my god, that's like the worst support job
Ooh.
ever. And
No,
she goes,
no,
yeah. She
no,
goes,
no.
we
The
have.
worst support job is working for Comcast now.
Oh yeah, there is that. Um, so she goes, yeah, there's stickers. There's stickers all over there. Now, mind you, she works for IBM, right? And IBM, it's OS2 is their operating system. She has stickers all over the place. Because if my car ran on OS2, I'd be there right now, but I'd still be looking for a driver. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so true.
Oh,
But
that's great. That's great.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how I got on that tangent, but
And we're going all over the place.
oh,
So
that was your meme. That's right, that was your
yeah.
meme.
So let me ask you this: since we're on the topic of operating systems, what's your favorite computer operating system?
I do like. I hate to say it, but I do like OS X. But I have under the workbench over there. I
Mhm.
have a Dell PowerEdge server with 48 cores and 128 gigs of RAM. I use that for compressing my videos,
Mhm.
to re-encode all the videos and compress them. Because I mean, videos. I film in 4K, so these things are huge files.
Yeah,
That is actually running Linux Mint, and I kind of like it.
Mint. Okay. I mean,
Mint running the Cinnamon interface.
if I had to choose, I mean, I like Windows. Okay, I've always used Windows because I play games. Okay, and I do video editing and whatnot. But personally, if I was going to say if I had a preference, probably any flavor of Debian,
See, so why don't you like OS X then?
because it's not it's just wrong.
It's Debian based.
No, OS X is not Debian based.
It's
It's
close enough.
it's BSD based.
Yes, that's right. It is BSD based. That's right.
Yeah, I hate BSD. I've used BSD before, and
Yeah,
I'm,
I've
I'm,
never liked.
I'm like, I mean, there's a reason FreeBSD uses a devil as its logo because
Yeah,
I'm literally doing this,
it's
you
an
know,
evil operating system.
back demon when I have to fix
Yeah.
a system that's running
So
FreeBSD.
but it's funny though. When you're working in OS X, you're never really at the command line, so you would never know.
I know, but no,
So
any flavor of Debian. I mean, I know Ubuntu is also Debian flavored, and it's like the easiest one to use. But I use it.
see,
I
I've
don't mind it.
I've used Ubuntu a lot. The
I
problem
prefer Debian because you got more control.
the problem I have with Ubuntu is that um, half the time, whenever you go to do something in Ubuntu, it's twice as hard as it needs to be.
That's why I go straight Debian, because it cuts all that bloat out.
Mm.
Anyways, all right. I need your help on coming up with
You're
with
not, you're not paying attention to the chat.
oh, I know, I'm trying. Yeah, I see that. I'm ignoring the
You're
chat.
killing me.
I'm ignoring the chat because there's a reason. There's a reason, because I know those guys. So I'm thinking of creating a school of gunsmithing, the Dead Blow Hammer School of Gunsmithing. This is a joke between me and Jason. Where Jason did a video on know when to use the right hammer and the wrong hammer for gunsmithing.
So I am the founding member of the Orange Dead Blow Hammer School of Gunsmithing.
Yes, yes, he is.
So,
Yeah.
so this hammer was in that video. I got to do it. I keep on wanting to do more of those type of videos because that was kind of fun. I even cracked up a bunch of people at some of the gunsmithing tools that I use.
Yeah.
When I did that, and I threw their hammer out and started using this.
Yes, Coop. I love you, but remember, your wife loves my wood. There's another. I'll tell you about that later. But I had to throw that in there.
So, but this hammer was actually used in the MUP 1 video.
Yeah.
Where I was bending the frame rails for the 80% P320. That's how this hammer made it into the shop.
And then what's that one company? Avid.
Real Avid
sent you that gunsmithing hammer, and you decided know when to use the right hammer and the wrong hammer.
Yeah, that yeah. I wasn't going to bring their name up, but yes, they were laughing at that. So yeah, that's this hammer right here. But yeah, no, I was I got to do more of those videos. Those were fun to produce.
Yeah. So I ran some AI, some AI generated images, and not all of them are great because apparently they don't know how to which end the bullet is supposed to come out of on the bullet.
I like the one bullet right there at the end where it has two ends of primers.
I know, right? So I got a couple here. So this is one. I liked this one. This one's pretty good.
Well, that hammer looks a little suspect there.
I know, but we're going for style here.
Speaking of wood,
yeah, right. I had this one.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, no. And then I got this one. I think I like this one the best.
I think I like that one too. They're just the whole cartoonish, character of that.
Yeah, so I may make a T-shirt there. The Dead Blow Hammer School of Gunsmithing.
Yeah. It was so funny. Where were you that you sent me the picture?
I was at the PSA gathering.
That was a gathering.
The gathering.
That picture, I started laughing.
It's like right behind the booth where they were selling PSA gathering T-shirts. They had that just on the floor underneath the tent, right behind it. And I'm like, oh, I got to take a picture of this and send this to Jason.
Yeah, it's I got that text and I just started laughing.
And then I took a picture of me working on my AK, my what was it, my RPK, and I just nonchalantly put a picture of my Dead Blow hammer right in front of it, just for saying, and said, working on the AK.
It's funny how that became a thing. The whole Dead Blow hammer thing just started becoming a thing of its own.
Because it's funny. It's funny. And if it's humorous, run with it,
But yeah, when I threw the hammer and went to the town with a Dead Blow, that was funny. I really do need to get back to that type of content.
Yeah, but I just figured we'd go through some of those just because it's a nice interlude and whatnot. But you know, I want to ask you, how optimistic are you with the ATF with this upcoming administration?
Um, so here's my problem. Government is government,
Yeah.
and I think things will get better, and then the parties will change. They'll get worse, and they'll get better, and then they'll get worse. Um, there,
Yeah, for
I think
right now, it seems like it's a back and forth. It's like 4
it
years
is.
you're on one side, 4 years you're on the other,
My,
and you're
my biggest thing is not necessarily the the political side of it. My thing is the ATF keep losing in court to in these court
well,
battles going up to the Supreme Court.
it's because the factor that they're trying to push the envelope of control too far.
Yeah,
And
and I'm
whereas,
I'm all for pushing the envelope of putting them out of business.
I mean, I harp on this all the time, but I've got a 1762 dictionary that says, "Hey, by the way, infringement means the same thing now as it did back in 1762."
Yeah, it's
But
yeah, and that's the problem. It's a problem that we face in the industry is made up terms
yeah,
trying to sound official and
Mhm.
then re reinterpreting things. So
Reinterpreting in decisions that have already been made.
yes, so if you have for anybody that's out there that hasn't read this book needs to read it. 1984.
I've already read it.
1984. If you read through that book, now mind you that he wrote that book in the 50s, but they talk about in that book about redoing the reworking the language, and like one of the things they talk about is you can't say quack because quack could have a negative connotation that could offend someone because that's the thing for being crazy, right? So they were changing it to duck speak, so that way we wouldn't offend anybody. Well, let me think. What does that sound a lot like? Doesn't that sound a lot like this crap that we've been dealing with like the last 10 years?
This diversity crap and wokeism.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, and he wrote
I
that
mean,
in the 50s.
I'm gonna say it however I'm gonna say it. If people don't like it, well, guess what? Tough, deal with it. The First Amendment.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, that's the thing is that they're so this goes back to the ATF. Let's just go through the whole thing of, oh,
Mm,
we're going to reinterpret this. We're going to change the language. We're going to change how you speak.
right.
And that's,
It's the
it's
ATF.
scary. It's
Really,
scary.
the only thing we should be asking them at this point is one thing. You know what that is?
When the hell are you getting out of office?
No, no. Are those level 4 plates?
Oh yeah, level four. But
Yep.
he's gonna shoot us.
When I saw that video, I'm like, that's saving for posterity right there.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember showing that video to my wife, and she's laughing. Well, first of all, she goes, "What's that mean?" Because she doesn't know the whole body armor and stuff.
right,
She had a feeling what it was because he's like, "Oh, he's going to shoot us."
right.
But yeah,
All right. So, uh, what's next for you as far as your podcast? When's your next podcast?
I gotta get a guest. Um, so one of the problems I have is that
As I
I've
said,
been
I'd fill in for you if you need it.
I know, but one of the problems I had is uh, the podcast became a problem for the channel, and I almost lost the channel last month because of the podcast. And I spent a lot of time fighting takedowns, fighting channel strikes. I almost lost the YouTube channel last month, a few weeks ago. Um,
that's why people haven't seen a lot of my videos and whatnot, and that's why I dialed back on hit or miss, just because
well,
factor of, you know, I one, I couldn't monetize anymore, and
well, the,
two, I posted a picture of me holding a printed receiver, and they dinged me on it. A picture.
well, so here's the problem I had was is they kept taking it down, saying that I was showing people how to make guns, right? In the podcast. Now, one of the original episodes they took down saying that was with Mia Anstein. It was my interview with Mia Anstein. So Mia is, she used to write for Beretta. She's a writer. She's a 2A advocate. She's an outdoor advocate and a hunting advocate and all that stuff.
Right.
This is all we were talking about. I'm like, I don't understand how this is manufacturing a gun. I mean, we did talk a little bit about when she used to work for Beretta and she was writing for Beretta, but we were talking about hunting and stuff. We weren't talking about like the guns themselves and manufacturing them. Um, so they took it down. I appealed it. They put it back up, and I wonder if it's one of the sponsor links in the description. So I went through and yanked everything out of the description. And then it got taken down again. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's in the first 2 minutes of the podcast is my sponsors. Um, so that's what was taking it down. They were just using the gun manufacturing to say it. Now, my sponsors were a holster company and a company that sells ammunition.
I would very much like to get sponsors.
Trust me, it's a little hard.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed.
Um, but yeah, so it's one of those things of it's hard to fight this stuff.
Yeah.
So I got out of jail a couple weeks ago, and then I was on John Crump's podcast.
Yep, good old John.
And YouTube pulled that live because Flying Rich showed part of a magazine.
No. So
he had his hand up on the magazine, you could only see the feed lips.
If I show an end block clip, a folded piece of steel, I can get my live stream taken down.
Yeah. Well, so
then I'll only play with it.
This was a mag for an AR-10.
Oh. But
see, it's the scary black gun.
I know. There you go.
So all the podcast episodes got pulled. I was lucky I didn't lose the channel over it. So I've been really kind of just chilling out a little bit. The channel strike goes away, I think February 11th. But I will still have the warning. I got a warning and a strike. Fought them, got them taken off just for at 7:00 my time the next day to have them put back on for the exact same videos that have already been manually reviewed and restored.
Well, that's the reason why I may be continuing doing my live streams on YouTube, okay? But I'm also doing them on Rumble, and a lot of my gun stuff I'm doing on Rumble now. I mean,
well, and that's the thing is I have Rumble, all my stuff. This is the one thing that pisses me off on YouTube. I get, I have the posts out there, and I couldn't post telling people what's going on. So I was having people going out to my community tab and posting, hey, look, he almost lost the channel. He can't answer anything. This is what's going on. And then I got someone who goes, well, you should go to Rumble. I'm like, I've been on Rumble for 3 years. Obviously you paid attention.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm in the process of redoing everything. So, I'm working on it. It's just I'm not good at editing. So, all right,
if you had a Mac and you were using Final Cut Pro,
don't you start. Don't you start. You know why I hate Macs. Anyways, okay, I got 2 more questions for you. These are easy ones, and then we'll be done. All right. What is your bucket list gun? If you could choose one, what's your bucket list gun?
Hold on a second. I have a visual for this.
I mean, are we allowed to
And
show that?
I am allowed to show it. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I'm all the way on the other side of the room.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you what my wife gave me for Christmas of probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So it is 10 ounces of silver. This is what she gave me.
Oh, a silver. Just it's silver in the shape of a bullet. Okay.
Silver, 50 BMG.
Ooh, it's also.
So that's why it's 10 ounces. This thing's heavy,
Yeah.
right? She gave that to me for Christmas one year, saying that was the closest thing I'm going to get to a 50. So
and then
my dream, and that's it. Well, she also knows that the practical side of me kicks in too. So my dream has always been a Barrett M82. And is it a sex toy? No, it's not a sex toy. Um, the Barrett M82 has always been a bucket list gun of mine ever since the original RoboCop. That was the first time I ever saw a Barrett, and it's when they were running around in the streets shooting. You know, they're shooting
everything
the
during
fire
the
hydrants and all that stuff. And I'm like, that I want that gun, right? And what's funny is I didn't know it was a real gun at the time when I saw it.
Right.
And
I didn't know that the handgun that RoboCop used was a Beretta 92R until
crazy,
you know
isn't it?
until I watched a video of the making of RoboCop, and the prop guy took all the shielding off of the 93R, and it's like, that's just the 93R.
Yeah,
it just doesn't have the foregrip handle.
You see, for me, it wasn't that. It would be Kate Beckinsale for me for the 93R.
That's dangerous territory. It's dangerous talking territory for me.
But yeah, so that's the that's always been my dream gun. Now, that's
okay. Well, then let's
my not part. So let me tell you what my practical dream gun is.
Okay.
Right now, believe it or not, it's a 03 Springfield.
03? Okay. So let me ask you this. Since those are your dream guns, and some of your bucket list guns, are there any bucket list guns that you've bought for your collection that you own now?
Let me see here. Let me think what I have. Actually, the one Winchester I got to redo is one. I wanted an early. I've always wanted a pre-64 Winchester.
Yeah.
And that rifle definitely beats that by a few years,
Right.
considering the serial number is 1929.
Yeah. I mean, my bucket list guns were like, I got a Garand, and I got that through the CMP, and then I just kind of lucked my way into the NATO battle rifle starter pack. Because I got a Polytech M14 instead of an M1A. I got I got a G3, a SETME, and I got a FAL.
So it's funny, you're hitting all of my you're hitting a few of my bucket list guns.
Well, here's the thing. I went and bought a Sentry, an early Sentry FAL. And it didn't have a flash hider on it, so I told Mark, "Hey Mark, you think you can help me put a flash hider on this?" And he's like, but when he saw the picture of the FAL, he's like, "Come down to the shop right now. Bring it with you." I'm like, because Mark loves FALs. It's one of his favorite guns.
I never would have picked that up out of him.
Well, he likes working on specific guns. I mean, he loves working on FALs. He likes working on some other guns too, but primarily his bread and butter are shotguns.
Yeah.
He works on a lot of shotguns. So
I think he did a video of trying to get a screw out of a shotgun where he had to heat the receiver.
Oh yeah.
I another trick I learned from him.
Yeah,
Heat the receiver, heat the receiver, and you put some oil in. You let the the convection of the cooling get sucks the penetrating oil in, and yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff from him.
yeah, yeah. So have I. So have I. Even just me being there watching him do it, I learned more just hanging out in the shop with him, and than anything, honestly. So I guess that's it. So, guys, if you wanna see Jason's YouTube channel, I've got it in the description. I've also got his website in the description too. Uh, it's trb.fyi.
Yep,
Uh, again, is anywhere else I forgot? What's your Rumble channel?
the Rogue Banshee.
Rogue Banshee. Okay, check Rogue Banshee on Rumble.
The only place it's not the Rogue Banshee is actually Instagram.
Hmm.
It's the Rogue Banshee Media at Instagram. There is a Rogue Banshee channel, and it used to be me. I lost that channel. I fought the takedown. I won. I won. So this is winning the battle but losing the war. So I won the takedown. They put the channel back, but then they won't let me recover the password to get back into it.
Ah,
So they essentially shut the channel down, right? So they got pissed off, and then so I had to start all over on Instagram.
right.
So that's where the Rogue Banshee Media came from.
All right. So with that, on that note, guys, we're gonna end this one. But thanks for coming on, Jason. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for going a
Yeah,
little
man.
later
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me.
You know,
It's been great. It's been a
I
long time
I
coming.
I was prepared too. I was prepared tonight.
See, that's why it's a special.
That's why it's special edition
That's why this is why this is
because
a
I
special
never
episode.
prepare, hardly
He's
ever.
never prepared.
Yeah. But thank you guys for hanging out with us and commenting and giving us your perspective. And Jason, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us.
Yeah,
So
man.
with
Thanks
that,
for having me.
guys, on that note, what does this button do? Shall not be infringed.